Hey guys, this is Ranchin here, bringing on StarCraft commentary. This is going to be the first set in Group G of the Ro32 of the Hana Daetoo MSL 2010. This is going to be between Light and Pure of NBC Game and We Made Fox respectively. It's going to be on match point. We're going to have Light as the red Terran player at the bottom left-hand position. We're going to have Pure as the blue Protoss player at the upper right-hand position. That's 7 and 1 o'clock. Two-player map, of course, match point. Very popular, played a lot in the Pro League, being played in both Star Leagues currently. I don't think it was in the OSL last season. It was in the MSL, but pretty sure it was not in the OSL last season. But still, very, very popular map. Played a lot overall. Very interesting map. A map I personally really like it. It gives a neato balance between all races, so it's overall a fairly balanced map. And I'm really looking forward to this group that we're going to bring you guys. But before I talk about it, I'm going to do some syncing. 42, 43. 44, because there's no full countdown for me to use at the start instead. So sorry for you guys. But yeah, this is going to be a group Light, Pure, Free, and Calm. Very interesting group. Very different skill levels of the players. We got no real S-class players, but at the same time, we don't really have any bad players, really. Light been an absolute revelation in the Winners League when he went 3 all kills, played very well in the playoffs as well, and has just been killing players. Also, he's been playing absolutely beautifully. But however, this is his weakness against Protoss players. This is his worst matchup, and Protoss players is the race that has caught him the most off guard. Zerg players generally, especially lately, just die to him. But Protoss players have a very good opportunity to snipe him. And this is Pure's best matchup. He's played very well on this map. He has very nice use of arbiters. He has really nice arbiter use. Has very good mechanics overall. So he's a very good macro player as well. We start off. We're going to see Light going to go for a Refinery alongside his barracks. He's most likely going to go for a standard 1-fec into Expo. And we're going to see what Pure is going to do on the opposite side. But yeah, Pure have very good mechanics, and he's going for a quick Nexus here, 12 Nexus to start things off. In the OSL, I believe it was the last OSL. It was... Actually, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was the last OSL, the ever OSL, where in the round of 36, him and Lita brought us most likely the best series of that entire OSL. It was just 3 very exciting, beautiful games of PvT, and it just went to insane levels. Very long games, but all of them very fun to watch. Very fun as spectators. Very fun as a spectator and as a commentator, and of course they're all available on Nuke's channel, so go check that out. Shameless plug right there. Factory coming up now for Light, and yeah, he's most likely going to be expanding since he only's got 1 SCV2 mine gas at the moment. You know, he's going to go out there and spot the Nexus. Gateway almost up, so we're going to be seeing the Cyber Error score followed up by that. We're probably going to be seeing him following it up with 2 gateways. And start pumping Dragoons. He's getting his simulator right now. Will most likely build... Oh, nice. Will most likely build 1 single Zealot first, I was going to say, as he puts 7 air score down. But meanwhile, Light's going to put a bunker at the front, and I'm not even sure is he pulling... I think he's got a Marine on the way there, but that bunker at the front, he's already canceled it. No, it's still there. With a probe constantly attacking it. 3 more probes coming off the line. I think for the most part, well, okay, Light does have 1 single Marine coming up, but I'm not quite sure if he's pulling anything else off. I don't think he's pulling anything else off. So it's just 1 single Marine and 1 single SCV. He's going to try to accomplish something. This at the very least, he's going to be able to force Pure to pull some probes off the line. So Zealot in there as well. So he's going to cancel the bunker as soon as that happens. I think that's mostly. I don't really think he was expecting to be able to get the Nexus snipe there. I think that whole thing was just a way for him to get some probes off the line, maybe do some damage, and get some indirect scouting. We did see that initial Zealot come out, and that's still out there, going to run all the way up to the base. It is going to be pushed back by that 1 single Vulture, so yeah, he's going to going to continue running forwards, and the way back is blocked. So the very least, he's going to attempt to get the scout in before it dies. He's actually going to most likely fall to 3 Marines shooting at it. Nope. 1 more shot would have taken that Marine down, but not quite managing to do so. 1 more Zealot on the ramp. Not quite sure whether that's going to block the... don't quite think it's going to block the Vulture. If you macro it well enough, you can block the Vulture with, but there is a Dragoon coming out, so Pure might prevent that Vulture from coming. Actually, yeah, Vulture just completely bypasses the ramp. Like, I'm going to get inside your base, but not really going to manage to do that because of that single Dragoon. Also, a pylon there being put at the front. Pipe here, he's probably going to be putting down something else alongside. Actually, going for a robotics facility before he went for the second gateway. So we're going to see probably some Reaver harassment to come up to follow this up, try to go for some Reaver harassment, do some more economic damage, basically get even more further economically ahead of Light by doing some economic damage. We see the starport on the opposite side, so we're going to see whether Light decides to go for the Buddy Cop combo yet again. That is getting initial Wraith, teching up to Science Vessels and getting a Science Vessel out there alongside a Wraith and go Observer sniping. Actually, thinking about it, on the opposite side, this is most likely going to be Observers prefer anything else for Pure, and then he might follow it up with some Reaver Micro. We're going to see Observatory, coming down as a blockading building alongside a pylon. The Dragoon will be able to get through that, no problem, but it really acts as a very nice blockade, and anything that the enemy has will have a very hard time getting through that. Light just now getting his natural expo going. Still don't see any Wraith being built so far. Going to see what he does with this. Might be going, okay, is actually no, going to go for a control tower, and actually most likely going to go for a voltage drop, going to try to do some economic damage. I thought he might have been going for the Buddy Cop combo again, because it's a build I don't know. I don't know the timings for it. It's weird, it's different. He does have the science facility going up, so never mind. Yeah, control tower. I thought he might be thinking of going for voltage drops, so was actually control tower just going to be to get a science vessel out there as soon as possible alongside that Wraith. Still has some vultures out there planning mines to be able to prevent that mineral-only expansion, but Pure is still going to sit. They are equal bases now, but Pure has had his base up longer. He is going to go for Reavers, has robotics robotic support bay up, so it's most likely going to have his shuttle out ready very soon. And with that, as he goes out and does the economic damage, we'll most likely want to do expand yet again, getting a Citadel of Doom going. With those Dragoons and those Observers coming out soon, he'll be able to at the very least prevent those mobs from doing too much damage. Science Facility is up, so we're going to be seeing something coming out at Starport. I don't know whether it's going to go for Wraith first or getting that Sciences a lot first before he goes out sniping. Initial Observer, already out there for Pure. Just going to go out there and going to try to act as a spotter for Pure to spot the positions for him so he can find a decent opening to get that Reaver in there. 2 more gateways coming up for him as the Citadel of Doom is just about to finish to warp in. So Sciences will come out first, probably going to have a Wraith following up behind that, so it's going to go out there and try to do some nice old Observer sniping. Wondering whether... Yeah, Marine's actually going to be able to get the snipe before anything else, so nice. Observer actually slowly running for his life, trying to get the full scout on this. Yeah, just going to sit on top of the command center, going to get picked off. But does spot the position, does understand that Light's going for his little Buddy Cop combo as he actually expands already, so he's going to try to play the economic game. As the shuttle comes out there with the Reaver, most likely there's a mine at the back of those mineral fields. I'm not quite sure whether the Observer actually spotted that or not. But a natural expo is that whatever's in that shuttle could be fairly vulnerable, unless he has a Zealot in there, which I assume he does. Well, then he might actually get a decent mine drag going. There's a little Wraith in there. Oh god, horrible for the shuttle. Shuttle's gonna be forced to most likely sacrifice herself. Dragoon gonna try to get some shots on that. Gonna see the shuttle still go down. The Reaver gonna be able to drop down. Gonna get one Scarab off, which is gonna end up being a dud. Oh man, Reaver gonna get one more Scarab off, which I don't know if did anything because it did kill some Marines, but absolutely nothing else. So 1 dead Dragoon, which did pretty much nothing. One except get a few shots off a Wraith. One blown up shuttle and 1 painfully useless Reaver. Yeah, gonna take this opportunity meanwhile as he did that harass to expand. That's pretty much what I thought he was going to do. Go at this to harass, meanwhile put down an expo, try to do some keep Light on the defensive. But Light's actually keeping up economically very well, continuing to produce something for the start. But I assume it's going to be more Wraiths. Getting his academy going for comset stations right now, and I'm not sure whether he's putting down his armory yet. Anywhere. I think he's still sitting on. I'm not quite sure, but I wonder whether he's still sitting on 1 fac. I only saw 1 factory from him there. I assume he's going to be going higher on that. Altogether, not too sure. Temple Archives and Stargate on the opposite side. For Pure, he did have a forge up, so he's at the very least trying to compete with upgrades, and actually also putting down cannons just in case there's going to be counter drops. 3 barracks coming in for Light, so he's going to push this. He has 1 Rex that there as well, so he's going to go in and push this. Just going to try to do a lot of damage. Has the academy up, an engineering bay up as well. Going to see whether he's going to start researching Stim now or not. So he's going to try to take advantage of the fact that that Pure at the moment is very Dragoon heavy. He's adding in more gateways at the moment. He is taking up the Arbiters. And Subnator's Corvus is still spinning. Oh god, what is he going to do? For Nex is at the bottom right hand. And unfortunate for Pure that this is not really the best time for him to be going for expos, because they're going to be nothing but one single factory producing tanks. So it's going to be just a bunch of tanks with Marines, most likely medic Marines coming out there. to run and get him off. But, oh, Pure with a critical scout on this. Nice. Oh, Light not running around the map, flying around the map as he should have been with a Science Hustle and Wraith. That's the whole point of his Buddy Cop combo, to go around there and start getting that scout out there. But yeah, he's already adding in a bunch more gateways, adding in cannons, has some High Templar out there as well. But the plan for him right now is get some High Templar, and primarily I think he should continue this Reaver, continue getting Reavers, because Dragoons can be dealt with fairly well by this strategy, simply because Marines and Medics, they don't take that much damage from Dragoons, and Dragoons are forced to focus fire one single unit, even if in a very heavy number. Vulture, meanwhile, going to get inside the man. Going to be able to pick off both High Templars. Both High Templars are going to get picked off. Oh, wow. Light with absolutely brilliant timing there. Pure needed those High Templar to get some storm energy going so they can start storming those Medic Marines. Because really one of the important bits out there is Zealous meanwhile going to go out there and hunt some mines. Because his Observer's getting picked off. He going out there clearing the position. Also most likely going out there to try to get some mining going, because he's keeping his Observers on top of his Dragoons because he's a little bit scared of doing anything else. But yeah, Light's going to continue with this. Adding in a factory. He has 5 barracks out there producing Marines at all times, waiting on his upgrades, stim, and what I assume to be range. I think he should have stim ready at this point already. He did not quite see whether he was he did not quite see overall. He was researching like energy for his Science Puzzle, but not quite sure whether he was upgrading weapons on his Marines or not. There's a light battle here on this ramp, but not really too much. Just Light kind of pushing Pure back a little bit. Pure does have some Zealots in there with speed to support him, but he's going to need more of them. If he wants to fight off these Medic Marines, he's going to need to. His Zealots really need to soak up some fire, and those tanks at the back that are able to siege, they're just very beautiful weapon against this. Medic Marines is going to be blockading for the Zealots at the front, so the tanks can siege from the back. Weapons 1, meanwhile, on those Protoss forces, and Pure's still going to try to get some Observers out there to spot the positioning for Light on 3 bases at this moment. Pure, meanwhile, is getting his 4th up. Oh, picking off a Science Hustle there, so that's a little bit of help. If he really wants to prevent EMPs at this point, but he's getting a lot of his forces caught, split up at this point, going to be forced to push some from the high ground, some from the southern. More Zealots coming in support, has some High Templar back home waiting, and has to be very careful not to get those picked off, because High Templar are going to be extremely critical to rip those. Because if he manages to rip those Medic Marines to pieces, that's going to be it. The tanks are going to be exceedingly vulnerable. The Zealots are just going to be able to run up to them and pick them off. Dragoons are going to be able to fight toe-and-toe with them without any support. Just going to siege up on top of that ramp a little bit closer to Pure's base. So Pure, he has a stronger economy right now, but he's got to be very careful to how he engages his Zealots running in on the front. Dragoon's going to be firing at the back. There's a lot of siege fire going on. EMP going off on those High Templar! Oh! They're going to be instantly morphing into Archon. No storms on top any Medic Marines. Beautiful here. Although Pure does have a very nice pincher attack going in with a couple of Zealots coming in very close to the tanks. Tank's going to be forced to waste some siege fire on the Dragoons. Pure with a lot of forces going to be clearing up the forces of Light. Light going to be forced to push in with even more Medic Marines as he gets slowly but surely pushed back by these Dragoons. Nice pincer movement by those Zealots on the right side, picking off a lot of those tanks. Light seems a little bit empty right now. Has some more siege coming in from the back, trying to blockade his Medic Marines at the front, picking off the Archon. Some Archon splash could have been effective, but just getting ripped to pieces by those nice Medic Marines. So very nice build here from Light. It's going out there with still being irritating a little bit. Vulture's trying to deny some expansion, trying to get a spot on. Gonna see another battle coming in here. We're gonna see whether the Science is gonna manage to get an EMP off. Not getting actually picked off. The tank's still showing those Dragoons. Dragoons trying to come in close. Medic Marines not really blockading those tanks though. Zealots coming in close and picking all the tanks off. Light does have weapons 1 on his Medic Marines, but still he's gonna get them all ripped to pieces. Nothing but more reinforcements coming in for him though. And Pure's own Zealot reinforcements coming. He's focusing very heavily on the Zealots. Good idea, because he's had a lot of success with them in the other 2 battles. Because Light just hasn't done as much blockading of those siege tanks as he would have wanted to. Has more siege tanks and more Medic Marines coming in. Very small grouping. Those Zealots going to be able to come in and attack those tanks. And Light just desperately trying to keep up production, losing a lot of his tanks, getting sniped by the Dragoons and the Zealots. And meanwhile, Pure's going to take advantage of this, put down a photon cannon alongside a pylon. And at the 6 o'clock base, try to expand there. Light meanwhile going to expand the upper left position, but Pure already has his number, has that spotted with an Observer. Pure definitely in a very good economic position. Going for a fleet beacon here, actually. 3 starport, fleet beacon, and also denies the base at the upper left hand. So Light looks like in all trouble. It seemed like a good idea at the time, apparently. But he made some mistakes in that battle. I feel he's a very good M&M player, very good Medic Marine micro player, but just not used to getting a storm on top. Nice storms coming in for the dropship. Dropship does die, but some of those Medic Marines damaged and some killed. Weapons 2 upgrades on those Protoss units now, and really those Medic Marines suffering due to lack of upgrades. Pure gonna expand it to 12 as well, so he's just expanding all over the place, keeping up a high unit production. Meanwhile. So that's one of the problems right now. Light just not having a very good time against these against this Protoss player. 4th Stargate coming in here for Pure, so he's going to start amassing as soon as those 6 and 12 I think get going. He's going to start amass carriers, and there's absolutely nothing that Light's going to be able to do against this. I mean, what's he going to do? He has another command, so he's going to attempt to pick off that 6 for himself. He's going to scan that right now, so he's going to like, oh god, now I got to go and do something about that. Does have a dropship coming in now though. But he's not really going to be able to do much against this. Meanwhile, now his main row only is going to get penetrated. There are some Dragoon Zealot coming in. I think he's going to be able to hold this back. Has some tanks at the back that he's not protecting too well. Some of those tanks did get picked off, but anyway, he's going to be able to hold his position just because he's really walled in himself very well. But he needs another base. Needs to pick up that 6. Needs to pick up maybe the upper left. And meanwhile, going to drop on the mineral only at the 4 o'clock. There are a couple of cannons there to prevent. So Pure's being very defensive with his expansion, pulling his probes off the line. Medic Marines are going to not really do much damage. They're going to be at the very picking up one single cannon already did enough damage to him. Overall in a pretty bad position. Still no carriers being produced, but I'm guessing he's just waiting on everything. He's waiting on resources to be able to pump them en masse like crazy. Storm coming off on top of those SCVs at Light's been rolling meanwhile, and Pure was also picking up that upper left hand, putting up cannons there, going to go up there and prevent all the harassment coming in his own mineral only. But Pure absolutely dominating this game. Light tried to go for that funky, but no, nice storms from Pure overall. Light with nice reactions, going to be able to pick off that High Templar, but still, it's just not managed to do enough. Finally, now the carriers are going to go in, and I mean, the only thing that Light has to fight off those carriers are Medic Marines. The Medic Marines are not what you want to fight off carriers. Has 2 command centers, they're just ready to go, but unfortunately, nowhere to put them. No mining to start off, and there's going to be a lot of Zealot and Dragoon support for those carriers, so Light's just in deep trouble. Pure just bringing a very nice, very solid PvT game here. Reacts well, gets the scout at the right time, and even though he was prevented a little bit, he still managed to play very well, micromanaged his army extremely well. Light's going to go for yet another attack here, going to try to push Pure back and try to do some sort of damage. Has a pretty sizable wall of Medic Marines, but he's got to be very careful against those storms. And I just, he knows. I don't even know if he scouted this at all. Let's see. I'm not sure if he has, because I think it's been a while since he scouted the main. Especially looking at the minimap, not quite sure if he knows those carriers are coming. And the minute they come out, that's going to be it. He's going to have Marines on the ground shooting up at carriers, screaming to their gods, "Why are we dying? Why are we dying?" Unfortunately for them, and he's just desperate to get some sort of economy going because his main's dead, his natural's dead at this point. His mineral only the only resources he's getting right now. The only minerals he's getting all Pure. Meanwhile, mining everywhere but the upper left-hand position, so he's absolutely dominating Light at this point. He's getting a lot of mining done in a lot of places. Still has resources left in his main for crying out loud, just because of his extremely aggressive expanding. And I gotta say props to Light for going for this interesting, funky strat. He tried to catch Pure off guard, and if Pure hadn't scouted that, if that observer had not come in when it had, Light would have managed to do a lot of damage with this build. He would have caught Pure completely off guard. Pure would not have had the High Templar, which became eventually useless, but he would not have had the unit count he needed to have. Storm's going to come off right on top of those tanks. Zealot's going to come in and do some finishing off. Medic Marine's going to try to fight some of these forces on the ground, but even more High Templar ready for him. Meanwhile, near the middle, just flanking maneuvers coming in with very heavy Zealots. Medic Marines and tanks desperately trying to fight this back, but just not quite managing to. Very, very heavy Zealot. That's what you can do against Medic Marines. You just go very heavy Zealot, just flank. They're very maneuverable. You can just flank them around, pick off the Medic Marines, and go for the tanks as well. And basically, in this build, if the tanks go down, the Medic Marines stand there useless because they can just be ripped to pieces by a Dragoon Zealot combo and by storms. Light's still producing Medic Marines at all times. Apparently tried to float towards that upper left end with a command center, but it got pretty quickly denied. Still some storms coming in from Pure, and Light still fighting this back. Has a Dark Temple, a Dark Templar there for Pure at the upper left hand as well. Still overall a lot of damage. Oh, a storm there that actually Light walked right into. Didn't really have to, but a bit of a mistake there trying to push it back. Just now the carrier's going to come into play. He's been waiting, just building up the interceptor count a little bit because he knows he doesn't have to bring them into play unless he really has to. He's going to have some interceptors coming in, so they're just going to pick the rest of this off. Going to come in right now. Tanks are going to spot them. Oh, man, the tanks are going to go down. Not pretty decent interceptor count on that, so the Marines are going to be fighting off this interceptor, shooting them down. So they're actually doing a pretty good job of that. Shooting down those interceptors. The tanks went down, but the Marines actually going to be fighting those carriers back. It can be pretty dangerous against those just because of their heavy rate of fire. Not as much range as Goliath Charon boosters, but still not nearly enough with fire coming in from all sides. Light's going to be forced to GG. And Pure, despite it going fairly even down the middle, Pure just followed it up well, went for very heavy expansionist style, and just played really well. And, just really not much else to say. Light, unfortunate for him that he tried to go for that surprise attack, try to catch him off guard, but he got spotted at just the right time. So Pure with very good reactions, fighting it back. Going for carriers at the end, which he didn't really need, but, just the second those carriers came out, that was it. That was the finishing blow. Checkmate. So GG, guys. GG, guys. Ranching out. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. See you in this next set, guys. 4, 3, 2. Hey, some sinking. Hey guys, Ranching bringing you all another StarCraft commentary. This is going to be the second set in round 32 of the round 32. Yes, I already said that. Of the Hana Daetoo or Daetoo MSL 2010. This is going to be between Calm and Free on Fighting Spirit. And we're going to have Calm at the upper left-hand corner as the Oranger. We're going to have Free at the bottom left-hand corner as the Red Protoss. So that is 11 o'clock and 7 o'clock, respectively. Some call it 10 o'clock and 8 o'clock, but I don't care. When I say some, I say nuke, and I stare at him with evil eyes whenever he does. No, I don't. Don't care. Different people have different perceptions. It is right in the corner, so technically it should be 10:30 and 7:30. But we don't care about things like that. Anyway, this is, I've already said, a stacked group, and after a very interesting match in the first set, looking forward to seeing what these guys bring us. Very interesting matchup because Free is very much a Zerg sniper, very powerful player against Zerg. On the opposite side, Calm also a very effective versus Protoss player. So we'll really look forward to seeing what kind of gameplay he brings us. I feel like I haven't cast a Calm game in a while. I did do when STX Soul played against the Whinging Stars. I did cast a game with him there. Just feels like it's a long time I cast anything but a ZVZ with him. I think I feel that way a little bit after the Avalon MSL as well. It just feels like it's been a while. Free, unfortunately for him, is going to be scouting in the wrong direction with that probe. I think he didn't even really just stop outside of the natural expo. Like, okay, nothing to see here. Pretty much spotted. Okay, no Overlord coming out, so never mind. Run away. Nothing else to do. On the opposite side, Calm is going to go for a 12 hatch. So it's really interesting to see how these two players are going to play it out because this is their respectively best matchups. Calm really good with that 3 hatch Hydra style. Very powerful. Gonna get another drone out there. Unfortunately for Free, because he got that probe in there very late, he's not going to be able to at all harass the timings. And Calm has to be very happy with that. So many times that he gets in the position where, unfortunately, a probe comes in and harasses him to death. Meanwhile, going to move out that drone to the upper right-hand position where he's going to be able to pick up a slightly riskier third, but eventually going to be able to expand and pick up a much more safer fourth when he gets to that spawning pool about halfway there. We saw Free was actually scouting that 12, expecting the third hatch to be there, but not seeing that there. Meanwhile, the third hatch is going to be at the upper right-hand natural expo. Free himself, of course, spotting the 12 hatch. I think he was going for the Nexus. Would have had the cannon timing in case he needed it, but he doesn't really need to put cannons down now. He can safely plop down a gateway and tech up before he goes for these cannons. Yeah, put down a gateway, 7 core, and also, of course, you should go for at least one cannon at the front as soon as that spawning pool comes down, just in case you don't really want to offer the circling a run by opportunity. So you want to be careful in that. Spawning pool already up. Probably Calm most likely going to go with 2, maybe 4 Zerglings to start things off. Do see that first cannon coming up on the opposite side for Free. Did see the extractor, so probably going to see Calm getting himself pretty quickly into that lair, so he can get some lair tech going, get some Scourge out there to prevent the initial Corsair. Of course, you might want to do that against a Corsair harassment slash scout thingy. Slimator coming down while Free meanwhile gets his own expansion going. Probably going to see him teching up, and unless he decides to switch up, that's one of the things, I suppose, the only occasional complaint I have against Protoss players, that they don't switch it up very often, and I understand why sometimes, because, well, in this MSL, the first person to switch it up was Cal, that went exactly on this map, and the positions were pretty close to each other. He went for 2 gateway attack, 2 gate Zealot Rush, and it backfired. Simply because Zerg player just plopped in a couple of Sunkens and have a few Zerglings to defend, pull off his drones, and he has effectively defended. And if the Zerg player goes for anything other than 12 hatch, your attack's probably gonna fail as well. So if you have to run into some harassment, actually fight up a ramp to do it, you're gonna be in a world of hurt, world of trouble. Free gonna yet again go with that probe inside, gonna try to get the drone coming down the ramp just as that was gonna happen. Not managing to prevent the scout. Lara is gonna be up, but I don't think this is anything that Free's not really expecting. Not expecting is to get his armory up. Armory. What am I talking about? Second assimilator up. Also has his initial Stargate on the way, and I feel really thirsty, and I don't have a beverage, or do I? Yes, I do. Haha. Icelandic malt. How I love thee. It's actually Easter malt, because they kind of switch up and do little flavor things in Iceland during Easter and Christmas. And I'm pretty sure Christmas and Easter malt are pretty much the same damn thing with different packaging. Still some Zerglings out there for Calm. They're going to very least harass and force that probe away. But it did spot the Spire, I think, so he's going to be able to get the full scout. Going to go inside the natural, going to spot the natural production hatchery go down. Still running around trying to keep that probe alive. Going to thought of trying to get them to the main again, but with those Zergling speed upgrade, that's not going to be any chance for him to do that. Dragoon going to meanwhile start trying to kill this Overlord. Going to slowly but surely try to take that down. Might manage to do that off the high ground. Probably is going to manage to do that off the high ground. Nope, not quite. Overlord just barely getting away. The Corsair's going to fly in there, finish that off pretty soon. Citadel Doom coming down alongside that Stargate. So he's going to be going pretty standard. I think, 3 Zerglings ran by, and 1 Zergling actually going to run inside the main, going to get the scout. So nice little move there by Calm. Calm is a very intelligent player, and he plays best if he has the scout, of course. He's one of those players, if he knows what you're doing, he's going to be able to counter. He's going to be able to trick you. He's going to be able to fool you. He has good mechanics still. He's an overall very skilled Zerg player, but primarily how he plays best is with his mind, with his head. Playing smart, because that's pretty much his forte. Has his Hydroist Den now, also adding in Sunken Colonies. They're always putting there just in case a Protoss player decides to go for DTs, because many do. They get like 1 DT out there, see if there's an opening. If that doesn't work out, well, okay, we'll switch up, go for a ground army. Still don't see Templar Archives anywhere out there. A couple of Corsairs. 3rd Corsair going to be actually on the way. So, yeah, okay, there we go. There's the Templar Archives. More gateways being added. He's just going to go for standard ground army. A couple of Corsairs going to come inside. Nope. Is there a photon cannon? There was a photon cannon morphing in. But the Corsairs actually going to be in a little bit of trouble. Oh, 1 get picked off. Bad start for Free. Losing 1 Corsair to start things off. Going to move up, actually, toward the upper right hand with a Dragoon and 4 Zealots. I think I saw 4 Zealots, I think. Sunken Colony pretty well blocked, though. Corsair's finally going to get picked off. Not quite sure whether they actually managed to get a second. Don't think they managed to get a second Corsair, but still a pretty good job. Also, Zerglings actually coming from, I think, second comm spots is probably going to move in with those Zerglings to come in from the back. 4 Zealots are going to run up. They're going to have a straight line towards the Sunken Colony to be able to surround it. Dragoon coming in from the back as well. He's going to get surrounded by the drones. Oh, yeah, Sunken Colony is going to go down, but only 3 Zealots left now with 1 single Dragoon. It's not being microed, being surrounded by the drones and getting a lot of hits. Finally now doing some microing there. Still has those Zealots inside. Hydra's only 1 Hydra to defend. Nothing really coming in from the back. So he actually might still get something accomplished with his drones. Are still taking a lot of fire. Just has to basically kill. Still has all those 3 Zealots and has to basically kill as many drones as he can. I think Calm thought this position was a little bit better than it actually was. Does have finally those Zerglings in there, but if those Zealots manage to blockade for that Dragoon pretty well, he's going to be this just has to be very careful not to lose that Dragoon. Zergling's still running around trying to get some surrounds. Dragoon going to go down right there. And the Zealot going to try to do little bit of extra damage before it dies. Yeah, it gets 1 more drone going thoroughly, so some damage done there at the front. Not that we get too much. Saw some lurkers actually moving out there for Calm, so nice switch up there, actually going for some heavy lurkers instead of heavy Hydras. Going to come in there at the front. There are a couple of cannons there, but no observatory to speak of. Anyway, no robotics facility up there. He's probably going to be adding that as I speak. But these workers might get quite a bit done if they come in at heavy numbers. Still don't see any more workers, so I think he just went in with a couple of initial lurkers, try to catch him off guard. Maybe, you know, force Free to tech up. Well, he just amasses a Hydra army. Still quite a few Corsairs out there playing on that. I still think he's building more. Archon and Zealot's going to come out there, going to try to force those lurkers back. One lurker going to be forced to run away all the way across the middle. But Calm now focusing fairly heavily on those Hydralisks now. So I think this is kind of a switch up, kind of a fake out for him. Just faking those lurkers, couple lurkers, making Freeze. Still don't know whether Freeze actually teching to observers or not. Gonna have 4 Zealots moving up to the upper right. They're not really gonna be able to come in there. Gonna try to engage those Hydra's. Not really gonna be able to manage to do much with them. They're still alive, but the Hydra's not gonna manage too much with the Archon in there. He's gonna try to just focus down those drones as many as he can. So he's gonna at the very least kill a lot of drones in this upper right hand position. But is it worth the sacrifice of all these ground troops? Gonna lose all of his Zealots and that Archon as well, picking some of those Hydras off as he does so. Still quite a few overlords in the open, so Free's going to try to do some damage there. Going to try to split up his Corsairs up, try to focus those Hydras different locations, flying in there, trying to pick up as many overlords as they can. There is speed on those overlords, and Comrade has a fairly large Hydra army. He's going to take down that gateway at the front. There are still some more cannons out there. Still don't think there's any observers out there. Weapons 1, or is that Weapons 2 on the partly Weapons 2? Weapons 2 on the Zealots on the way. Has some High Templar in there. There is an observatory, so observers going to come as well. But the Hydra's going to push in right now. Zealot's going to just now coming off the line. All the cannons going down. Still no storm. Free's still waiting on the storm, trying to put down some cannons. Lurkers coming in as well, so Combs might actually be able to finish this off with this. Has any storm. Free critically now going to be running back with the Zealots. Has to wait on those storms. So just going to counter this back. Still has some cannons trying to put up at the front. Zergling's coming in very close as well, doing some additional damage. One High Templar's also one of the Templars gone down. One storm gonna come off there, but has more High Templars down there waiting with no storms whatsoever. And GG coming in for Free. Wow, look at Calm completely taken Free off guard there. Free just took off his headphones in disgust as he realized what happened. But hey, them's the work. So GG guys, ranching out. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Hey guys, Ranching here, bringing on StarCraft commentary. This is gonna be the winners match in Group G of the Ro32 of the Hana Daetoo MSL. I do apologize that I'm bringing this very late to you guys, but very busy with real life stuff and been feeling kind of under the weather lately. 4, 3, 2, yay, sinking. Yeah, I've been feeling a little bit under the weather lately. So, but hey, I'm gonna finish round 32 hopefully before the round of 16 starts. That's gonna be on Thursday. So the last games will probably be coming to you guys on Thursday from the round 32. I apologize for this lateness, but oh well. This is going to be, of course, Calm and Pure on Triathlon. I'm going to have Calm as the orange Zerg at the 12 o'clock position. We're going to have Pure at the 8 o'clock position as the yellow Protoss. Not colors I like having together on the minimap, but thankfully because these are different races, I'm going to have a slightly easier time. Now, these guys had a fairly easy going against their opponents in the first rounds, so we're going to see what happens this time. Calm catching Free completely off guard, for instance, and Pure handling his opponent fairly efficiently as well, despite some surprises from Light. But we'll look forward to seeing what's going to happen here, because this is Calm's best matchup by far, so I definitely think he's going to have an advantage here. Pure, not as good at his advantage, but he has proven, particularly in his OSL performance, that he can play well overall. He's an overall fairly solid player, if not consistent enough maybe, but still overall a very solid player with very good mechanics. So he's a player I look forward to seeing what he can do in the future, what else he's going to be up to in the future, basically what kind of games he's going to be able to bring us. But we did see him put down a pylon inside of his own base, so he's going to go for one gate tech build right here. It's going to be very different, very interesting. We're going to see exactly what it tries to go for here. He's most likely going to be wanting to expand inside his own base past the mineral lines. Might be going for a slightly later expansion than usual. I don't overall to know. Might be going for fast tech. Might be going for a one gateway expand. We're going to see what he does. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, going to be an overpull, I believe, from Calm. A quick pull from him. So this is actually not really looking very good for Pure to start things off, because if Calm had gone for 12 hatch, Pure would be in a fairly good position. But he's going to need to get a couple of Zealots on that ramp of his before Calm moves out with his own Zerglings. And if Pure is a little late, if he does not pull enough probes off the line, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Unless of course Calm decides to not go aggressive, but I think going for an overpull, he's gonna get those 6 Zerglings out there, try to put on some pressure. He did put down his own natural expo inside that upper right hand, inside that 1 o'clock position. So he's probably going to want to expand to the upper left right afterwards as he does. So initial Zealot now out there for Pure. He's going to be able to block the ramp with that. Probably will actually get the second. I think with the timings here, he will be able to get the second Zealot on the ramp before the Zerglings reach his own base. The rush distances aren't, they're fairly short, but not overall too short. Kind of average, I suppose you would say. Because you do have to take a bit of a U-turn out there. We do see the Nexus coming up very quickly for Pierce, so this is not going to be a fast deck, or else it would have been seeing the Cybernetics Core coming up much, much sooner, and I think it should be coming up right now as we speak, and the second Zealot should be running down on that ramp. Meanwhile now, Pierre also going to keep his probe alive by pulling it toward past those minerals. Of course, workers can freely move, past those eggs, I'm sorry. They can, of course, freely move past those eggs. And, Calm deciding to expand at the inside 12 o'clock rather than try to move with a couple of drones towards that, past those eggs to force to attack that probe, because that probe could have been very annoying, so decides to go for the safe option at the inside 12. It did get scouted by, indeed scouted by Pierre's probe, but I think it's actually going to get scouted, and I think that's the same probe that was inside that base, so it is going to scout the third hatch coming down. Most wondering what it is that Calm's going to go for here. He might be thinking of going for aggressive action, because he did spot what his opponent went for. Probe going to come by, and that's a Hydra Den coming down nowhere. Hydra Den would have been absolutely critical for Pure to get that scout. I think he's actually moving another probe out there just as 7 Air Core's coming out, adding in that second gas, going to start mining in his new expansion. But I think he's actually moving out with a second probe, and if he manages to somehow sneak him past all these Zerglings and get the scout in that main, just spot the Hydralisk, then he's going to be, at the very least, it's going to give him a little bit of a advantage to know what's coming at him. Going to sneak nicely past by those Zerglings. Unless there's something on that ramp, he's not going to be able to sneak past, but it's going to be critical for him. He's going to need some cannons up. He's going to need to get a forge up there to put some cannons on top of the ramp. At the very least, there's going to be advantages for him that he's going to be able to fight down a ramp instead of up a ramp. Probe's going to run right past that drone, not blocking him at all. He is going to be able to get the scout. Nice play by Pierre. Nice timing. He's going to spot the lair coming up, but that's not the information he wants. He wants that Hydra Den that's up there. So at the very least, we're probably going to be seeing him putting down a forge if he doesn't already have one. Putting down a robotics facility alongside. Has a Stargate up already, not producing... Yeah, not producing that initial Corsair out there at all, because you want very heavy scouting with that probe, canceling his Corsair as he does so. Gets that robotics facility up. I'm wondering, is producing his initial Corsair out there, so he's going to try to do some harassment with that. But I think the robotics facility might be to get some Reavers out there to defend them on the ramp. I'm not altogether too sure whether he's gonna try to take up to Ser Reaver, but with only one gateway out there, he could still be in a lot of trouble. He's only going to be producing troops for one gateway, and Calm is going to go for this. 3 Hydras running in, and all of the eggs probably going to be producing Hydras. And now Probe going to be spotting around. Corsair going to spot those Hydras, and Zerglings coming at his base. Only 3 Zealots to defend. This is going to be troublesome, very, very troublesome here for Pure. He's going to be in a lot of trouble. Just hold positioning on that ramp with those Zealots, not even engaging the Hydras as they were just getting some free shots on them just now coming up. Bunch of probes coming off the line. I think that's all the probes from the main and the Dragoon as well. They're going to be able to hold this off at least for now, but for how long? There are going to be reinforcements coming in right now for Calm. Calm's going to be able to completely dominate. This is going to be very, very difficult for Pure to fight this back. Has only a couple of Zealots right now, and one single Dragoon going to yet again be forced to utilize all those probes. Only has one single gateway producing. Very heavily damaged Zealots, some of them. Does barely manage to fight these 3 Hydralisks back. And is putting a photon cannon, so he did have a forge. I did not see it, but he did have a forge coming down, so the very least he's going to be able to put some cannons in front. But meanwhile, as the cannons come up, 2 cannons, he's going to need to delay as long as possible. Use the Dragoon at the back, using this probes to block those cannons, try to block as much damage as he can. He's going to lose a lot of probes, he'll lose a lot of mining time as he does this. Zealots, a couple of Zealots dying there, and probes just coming off the line to block off on that bridge, on that ramp, I'm sorry, and more Hydra is going to be on the way for Calm. This is going to be a very good position for him. We're going to see how whether Pure actually manages to fight this back. Even if he somehow miraculously manages to fight this back, he's going to be in a horrible economic position. Loses all of his attacking units except one single Zealot and a bunch of probes. So many probes are already dead for him. Probes is just falling all over the place. No attacking units left. A few cannons still left aligned, and all the probes, only 2 probes, 2 probes left aligned at this point. Still trying to put down some photon cannons. No mining going on inside the main whatsoever. There is some mining at that natural X, but beyond the eggs. I'm not sure whether Calm is really getting his own economy up very strong, but I think he's mostly focusing on getting some units out there, but still, Pure somehow manages to fight this back thanks to his cannons on top of that ramp. Those Hydras being forced to push up that ramp, so at the very least, it's a decent defensive position from Pure. And now we're going to see what he actually manages to push through with this for the victory. He has a couple of Corsairs out there, not that much to defend that's maneuverable around here, so he's just going to try to wing them around, try to pick off some overlords, try to make sure that to supply block Calm at least a little bit, try to force him to get some overlords out there, not be able to get a strong enough Hydra force out there to push him yet again. But he's going to be Pure's going to be forced to rebuild, get a bunch of probes out. Actually, being forced to release some of the probes from his secondary to his main. Still flying around with those Corsairs. I think for now, his Corsairs could be a deal breaker for him right now. He needs the Corsairs to go around and do some damage. He needs to be very wary of those Hydras. Needs to keep them alive. Needs to try to pick off another overlord. I think he's only picked off one. Might have picked off two while we were focusing on the battle. Might have actually picked off another one as that was happening. But still, that we did see a Spire coming up now for Calm, so he's going to have some Scourge out there to fight against these Corsairs. There is a robotic support, so at the very least, Pure is going to have a Reaver on that ramp. On top of that, still only one gateway producing troops. I'm not even sure if probably just producing Zealots at this point. But as soon as he has a Reaver on top of that, that's going to give him a huge bonus to fighting on top of that ramp, because one Scarab going down as the Hydra start to push up, that's just going to rip through them. And on top of that ramp, of course, as well, that Reaver is going to be very well protected, especially if you have Zealots or even probes at the front. You're going to be able to defend that very well. You're going to have to try to not accidentally kill your own guys, but hey, just have to be careful in what you do. High Templar, I think, at this point for Pure is an impossible choice. Some Scourge out there for Calm. Corsair's going to have to shoot. Oh, nice! Oh, absolutely beautiful pincer. This is what Calm does to you. He just forces you into traps. So both Corsairs, there is going to be continued Corsair production. 2 Corsairs inside the main right now, and the Scourge Beam are going to go in there and spot the blinking, and that more Corsair movement is going to be coming along. Still only 2 Zealots on that ramp, but initial Reaver is out there. I'm wondering whether Pure's going to actually be able to continue taking up at this point, to continue to get his Citadel Doom going, to get his ground army a little bit more useful. I think he's also upgrading weapons. One is his Corsairs at this moment, because I think he's trying to transition into Serra Reaver, try to go around and do some economic damage to Calm, because that's going to be critical at this point. Calm, I don't think was working on his economy at all while he was pushing in, but at the same time, Pure lost a full assortment of mining units. He lost, I think, 20 probes, give or take. A few more give, probably. But still lost a lot of units. Reaver on that ramp with that cannon firing down as well. So the race is going to be able. Pure's going to be able to hold this position. Pure's going to be able to hold this position for a while now with those Reavers on the ramp. But he's going to want to go around and do some economic damage. Mutalisk coming out now for Calm. Nice switch up by Calm. Calm is playing beautifully right now. We're going to see what this catches him completely off guard. There's not really much to defend against early units, except there are a few cannons out there being put down by Pure, and he also has a few Corsairs, which unfortunately right now moving out alongside that shuttle. Mutalisk is going to be able to move out inside the secondary. A lot more cannons to defense in the main, but I'm not sure if they're in a very good position to really do anything. Mutalisk are going to be able to. Mutalisk are going to just move around inside that main and shooting a lot of stuff. Scourge. Let's see. I thought there were some Scourge. There are some Scourge in position up, but Reaver at the very least is going to be able to do some damage. But I think that shuttle might go down to Scourge. The Reaver's going to at the very least start off by picking off some drones. Oh, nice. Usually what would be a dud. Could be, I think, a Scourge. I saw some Scourge coming flying down south. I think it might be a Scourge up. Oh, those Mutalisks alongside the Scourge. This is going to be horrible for Pure. Scourge to come flying. Oh, nice shuttle micro there for him, though. He's going to be able to probably keep those alive, especially if he moves his Corsairs up right now. He has to be very careful with that shuttle. Thankfully, speed upgrade. Corsairs still just standing there. They're going to be able to shoot down. Oh, nice micro overall. By Pure is going to be able to, at the very least, push those Scourge back, but he really wants to keep the shuttle alive. Meanwhile, he did even more economic damage was done to his secondary. Meanwhile, so he has to be really, really careful with what he does at this point. He was mining from 2 bases for a little bit after it was prevented. Meanwhile, has managed to push all of his probes back into this new base. Meanwhile, he's just going to go around and try to do some more economic damage. A couple of Scourge just waiting for that shuttle. Oh, dear God, this is going to be horrible. Reaver's going to be able to plop down and do something, but it's just going to be a matter of seconds before that shuttle goes down. So the Reaver's going to have to sacrifice that shuttle. Corsair's going to come off the line, but Burrow has been... Oh, God, Burrow is ready now. He's going to be able to save this. He's got Corsairs coming in front, or just hoping that his shuttle desperately manages to survive. Corsairs are coming in. Absorb, yes! Corsairs Oh, man, that shuttle is just flying for his life. The Corsairs come in and barely managed to save it. And actually very lucky as it did so. Pure managing to spot Calm's new base at the lower right hand, so he's actually going to be able to clear that out, I think, fairly convincingly. And unless this happens, yeah, Hydra's going to come on down there, and Reaver just doesn't have the rate of fire despite the damage output to pick off the hatchery. I think in enough time for those Hydras not to do enough damage to it. Yeah, there you go. Shuttle being forced to run away yet again. But still, just Pure has gotten so much economic damage on him. He's gonna try to expand at that natural of his. He has only a couple of Zealots and a Reaver to defend. There are gonna be some Hydras coming, but I think with that Reaver is gonna be able to defend for now. He's gonna need something else there, though. A second Reaver, definitely, and more Zealots. Still don't know if he's been really had the capability of teching up. Has a lot of Corsairs out there, gonna go around, do some OV hunting. Just has to avoid the large clumps of Hydras. They're just gonna be able to do a lot of damage. And Pure, unfortunately, despite that early, I think he managed to pick off not even quite double digits of drones. Just not has not done the damage that's need to be done. Hydra's yet again going to move inside of his natural expansion. At the very least, he's going to have those Reavers. Going to be able to micro those with the shuttle. A couple of Zealots at the front. He's going to need more Zealots at the front. Despite his very nice mark, he's going to lose the shuttle. Technically, both of the Reavers still stay alive, so he's going to be able to clear this now, plopping down cannons on that natural expansion. But he needs more Zealots. I think he still only has one gateway. I haven't seen Pure put down more gateways. Been focusing on those Corsairs, but he only needs to get some more Zealots down to help defend, to blockade for those Reavers. Reavers are very effective, but he really needs some support for more units. Corsairs still flying around, picking off some Overlords. Second Stargate out there, and a second robotics facility to come down, so he's going to continue Reaver production. Still only one single gateway from what I see, and still only on 2 bases. But because he's been harassed so much, he's been forced to spend, for one thing, earlier on, he was forced to spend a lot on more probes. And he was forced to clear out his secondary for his main when those Mutalisks came in. Dell is going to be able to put down Natural Expo, I feel, fairly safely. Tesla Temple Archives in the way along that side that Citadel is finally going to be able to take up and get some more units going, get a third assimilator going, and third assimilator going, getting those High Templars up. But Reaver's actually not upgraded from what I saw. I've only had 5 Scarabs on him and only doing 100 damage, so he hasn't even upgraded damage capability. Not really that necessary when you're only facing a Hydra army. They're still going to be able to pick off the Hydras, so not really necessary. And generally, with the players going, I mean, some players sometimes I think pretty sure upgrade capacity sometime later on. But you know, with pro gamers like this, 5 Scarabs is all you need. They have the micro to fire a Scarab, build a Scarab the second that happens, so it's not really a problem for them there. They're always going to be able to keep that Scarab count going up. More cannons are going to, opponent cannons are going to be put up at that front, but that's just safe thinking here. One more photon cannon inside that secondary at the lower left hand, but not really that many mutas out there anymore. Some, but most of the mutas were picked off by the Corsairs at this point, so the biggest threat to Pure right now are those Hydralisks. Calm has picked up a 4th base at the lower right hand position, so it's going to be 4-on-3. But still more damage done overall to Pure, and he does not have a ground army to support. Only has those cannons and those Reavers, and the Reavers are in the shuttles, I think, right now. Gonna try to go around to harass that inside 12, but that's where all the forces are conjugating together. That's where all the forces are together, so we really want to be able to avoid that. He's gonna try to harass the whole right hand. I think that's the best location to him to try to harass. Calm's gonna be expanding yet again down there, but okay, the Shadow's just gonna completely ignore that. Corsairs are gonna come in direct distraction. 4 Reavers, they're gonna be able to rip apart everything here. Hydra just, go away, Hydras. The splash actually killing some of the drones. There are Hydras coming in from the back. Oh, dear Lord. Save what you can. Save what you can. Microing those Reavers beautifully, though. One more Scarab on that hatchery. And, oh, dear Lord. Calm miraculously with Hydras coming at the back at just the right time. Engine to save his hatchery. One more Reaver shot on that would have won him that. So unfortunate for them here. Meanwhile, as those Hydra groupings were running into support, is going to move in with those Corsairs and slaughter a bunch of Overlords. Lost a few Corsairs in that, but got at least 5 or 6 Overlords. So definitely going to take that. Going to make sure that the army on the ground is going to stay the army on the ground for now. It's not going to be any more Hydras that he has to deal with, but really has to start working on his ground army. Has to start working on his speed zealots and give some support. Oh no! Gonna run his Seraph fleet right over some Hydralisks, getting some unnecessary damage done to him. Overlords, meanwhile, going to come right inside the mineral only. I think that might be a drop coming in. Only 3 Overlords, but still a decent number of Hydras. There are going to be a couple of Reavers to help defend this alongside that cannon. Shuttle going to go down, so Reavers going to be the only thing to defend. They, with very little health left, go down instantly. Cannon goes down, and probes are going to be forced to fight. They're going to be just trying to try to survive as long as possible. But of course, past those eggs, the only thing that can really move are shuttles. So Pure, not enough cannons. Going to be forced to move more Reavers down with the shove. Only one Reaver at this point. Going to see what actually manages to migrate back to save enough. Does get decent amount of Hydras with his first shot. And yeah, he's going to be able to clear this up with nothing but his Reaver. But still more damage done to him. He's actually going to try to expand the upper left-hand position past those eggs. Decent position actually to go for, because those eggs are going to be harder to penetrate because of those Hydras unless they move in from the south. And not as good position for him, but really, Calm playing a very good game overall. Managed to save that lower right hand, which was actually absolutely critical. Managed to pick up the natural expansion in that position yet again. And finally, Pure going to be a lot more careful about this. Going to put down 2 cannons inside the lower left hand past the X secondary of his. Corsairs yet again going to move it, try to pick up as many overs as they can. Actually not managing, managing 1 this time. But the Hydra's at the right place at the right time for Calm this time. Calm with a huge Hydra army, just waiting for a shot to go for a break at the Natural Expo. But kind of understand why he doesn't go for that quite yet, because there are a lot of Reavers, a lot of cannons to defend that position. So instead, Calm's going to try to go and try to do economic damage instead of trying to break the front, trying to win the game with aggressive move and lose a lot of army as he does so, whether he's going to manage to or not. He's just going to focus and try to do some more economic harassment to Pure. He's still managing to do that the entire time. Pure has done some counter harassment, but unfortunately was not managing to pick up the lower hand base. Meanwhile, some Overlords actually going to go across and spot the position in the upper left hand. There is something to defend. There were some cannons there as well. So Calm just going to yet again prepare a drop. Meanwhile, we're going to see a Reavers coming down the lower left hand position. He finally should be able. There are some Hydras there, but I think this time, actually a High Templar drop this time around. Nothing but High Templars, which sacrificed their lives for Ire here. Shuttle as well. I feel there was Zealots there as well, but I think a Reaver would have been a much better choice. 1 Reaver Scarab and just basically a run and gun tactic there would have actually won him this. Just 1 Reaver in there, 2 Scarabs, and that would have been it. Goodbye Hatchery. He has a lot of High Templar out there right now. Not really much else but High Templar. Few Dragoons, a couple of Zealots and those Reaver, but focusing very heavily on the High Templar, knowing that Storms will be a huge boon for him here. So he's hoping to win this with splash damage more than anything. And if he manages to micro, this is a very micro-intensive army he has right now. No real A moves to do. Nice lot of Storms, but his High Templar unfortunately getting sniped. A lot of them getting sniped. Only 2 managing to morph into an Archon together. Still focusing on some Corsairs. Going to try to go around and still do some Overlord damage. And of course, acting as a constant scout. Calm at this point, 5 bases. To Pure's 4. He's probably managed to establish the upper left hand, but look at that huge line of Hydra. I think Calm is going to be able to go for this now. Not really much at all. He's just been allowed to build up, focus on nothing but Hydras, and these are just going to keep coming. No amount of Reavers or anything to be able to help defend against this. Nothing real at the front anymore. Hydras, nothing but Dragoons and cannons to defend at this point. These Hydras are going to be able to run in and rip everything to pieces right now. Calm with just a massive army and GG for Pure as soon as he realizes what's happening and the amount of forces that he's facing. Not enough economic damage done by him, and I feel that entire game really was one huge effort for Pure to try to delay, but did not really get what he needed. He needed a lot of Zealots there at the front, I feel. More support. Calm really forced him to waste a lot of his Storms on very small groups of Hydras early on, and as soon as those Storms were done, Calm just moved in for the kill. Very, very smart play from him. So that's GG, guys. Ranching out there, so listening. Hope you enjoyed. So Calm, finally, retribution for last season, going to move out to the round of 16 this time around. Hey guys, Ranching here, bringing you all another StarCraft commentary. This is going to be the losers match in Group G of the round 3-2 of the Hana Daetoo MSL. Hana Daetoo MSL. Hana Daetoo Securities MSL. I personally prefer the Ranching MSL, but hey, you can't always get what you want. I personally want to be woken up every morning by a blowjob from Angelina Jolie, but as I say, you cannot get what you want. You can't always get what you want. That woman has extremely attractive lips. But hey, this is going to be on triathlon between Free and the Light. We're going to have Free at the bottom left position as the yellow Protoss. We're going to have Light at the bottom right position as the purple Terran. But yeah, that speech beforehand, that was basically what I tell people when they whine about something they want and can't have. I say, well, I want to be woken up every morning by a blowjob from Angelina Jolie, but you can't always get what you want. And that speech is inspired heavily by, of course, Angelina Jolie and her extremely voluptuous lips and the Rolling Stones. Anyway, I need to sync here because we did not have anything at the start. 52, 53, 54. And, okay. Speech about words inspired by Rolling Stones and Angelina Jolie's lips aside. We're going to talk about some StarCraft. Free, I feel, did not get the group he would have liked. I feel Free did not get the type of group he would have liked, really, because right now, for one thing, he's a Terran versus Zerg specialist. He eats Zerg for breakfast. If he had gotten a Zerg-only group, no matter who those Zergs were, there is a chance he would have gotten through. If he'd had Jaedong, Effort, Calm, let's say, those Zergs in his group, he still would have had a shot to move it through. He would have had a hard road with those particular Zergs in his way, but he still would have managed to make it through. But unfortunately, in both the OSL and MSL, you have Protoss in his way. And Protoss is his worst matchup, and it's the matchup he just has troubles with overall. He tries to go for funky, weird builds, and they unfortunately do not come through for him. We're going to see Free actually go for a quick Nexus. And wait a minute, did he put down 2 barracks? I saw one barracks, I think one barracks to finish the wall. Another barracks instead of his main. Oh man, he's going to try to go for something funky here. Yes, 2 barracks coming up for him, so he's going to try to go for a quick push with 2 barracks. And this would actually be falling right into his hands because Free's actually going to start off. He's going to scout in the wrong direction. Light's actually also scouting in the wrong direction, but by scouting in the wrong direction, there's only a 3-player map, so he's going to know where to go afterwards. But Free's not going to be able to scout. He's not going to be able to run up the ramp. He's not going to know that Light's not going to go for a one-fec expo. Probably going to be seeing the Academy and such come up right now. On the opposite side, just a similar on the way. So Free could be in a lot of trouble. He's going to put down his Nexus, so he's at the very least going to put down Gateway, some in his core. Probably going to follow up with a couple of Gateways to get some Dragoons out there, because he's going to be expecting some Vulture harassment. But still, I perhaps thought Light would have gone for his little buddy cop combo, but he's not going to be able to do that this time to see the Academy coming up. But yeah, as I'm saying, Light is unfortunately not in a very good position, that he's been facing a lot of Protoss. He faced off against Perfect Man in the OSL and lost to him, which is embarrassing, I think. And he did not get my 0 versus Light matchup, which I coveted so much. I did eventually get a match between those 2 guys, but hey. So then he played against Pure, who's a very good versus Protoss player. Now he's against Free, who's a guy who's just good overall. And is a resurgence for him this season. Like in 2010, 2009, I'm sorry, the 2008-09 Shinon Bank season, he did not play very well, kind of fell off the track, but really been a resurgence for Free now. Kind of gotten his focus back, and can now finally act as the second ace of the Woongjin Stars, which they really need, and getting Quandro in their line, of course, very good for him. But now Light going to go for this full-on attack, just waiting on his medics right now, waiting on his Tim and medics, so he can go out there and do some damage. Has 8 Marines so far. Also going to add in a comset station, so we're going to see what tries to go for here. Probably going to pull off at least a couple SCVs to try to plop down a bunker. And for now, a part of me is like going, oh dear lord. I mean, I don't think Free knows this is coming at all, but a part of me is going, oh dear god, is this going to be another one of those things? Because I remember way back when in the MST, I believe it was Light that went for something like this. Not quite like this, but he plopped down 2 barracks, middle of the map, went for Marines. And he fed his stuff against Tempest, who had, if I remember correctly, a 32 kill Dragoon, which don't know if that's going to be quite the same shtick here for Free. He has 2 Gateways pumping right now, has a couple Dragoons. Have one second Dragoon going out there to act as a spotter, and he's going to see a bunch of Marines and a medic coming up, so he knows what's coming at him. He's going to be forced to micro back like crazy right now. Going to have to be very careful in what happens here. And I saw Light pull off, I think, what was it? Several Marines, several SCVs, not too many, but it's not going to cripple his economy, but it's going to do a little bit of damage to it. Not even going to need to put a bunker at the front. He's going to be able to rip this Nexus to pieces right now. Actually, I think going to cancel. He's going to leave some Marines behind. No, he's actually going to completely stop attacking the Nexus. Instead of delaying this attack by just a few seconds, he's going to run right inside, going to put a bunker at the front of those gateways. Those gateways are going to be able to come down. Free at the very is going to try to pick up even more gateways. Light going to lose his initial SCVs, putting down the bunker. One fireball here at the front as well, helping. One Zealot alongside quite a few Dragoons and a bunch of those probes as well. So Light still, Free has the forces to fight this back. Ruin is going to be forced to micro. It has meanwhile a probe inside of Light space to spot that Academy, but going to be 4 Dragoons so far. I think he had a 5th one out there somewhere. 4 Dragoons against a bunch of those Medic Marines and a bunker coming down. Probe is just being ready to fight this back as soon as that that happens. Still Medic Green is penetrating very close, and I feel just has to be very careful. Light has to be very careful not fall into a trap. I mean, he sort of has to keep his CVs alive. Has to be very careful to keep his CVs alive. They need to repair that bunker. He's going to need them. He might need them to repair the bunker. He's actually having them fight the probes at this point, and I feel that's a huge mistake. Losing, I think he's lost all of his SCVs at this point. Only has 4 Marines coming up. Has one more SCV in there that's fighting up. Has some SCVs in there. Has some Marines in the bunker. Maybe just one, but only 2 Marines at this point alongside the medics. And he has some reinforcements coming off the map, but the bunker, nothing to repair the bunker. Bunker's going to go down. Those Dragoons are going to be able to fire on that. And still that Nexus, at this point, I think just should cut his losses, run back down, stem up, and try to pick off that Nexus is nothing else. He's going to be in a bad position. Did not really do enough economic damage. Did not really take down the many probes at all. And overall, Dragoons are just going to be able to fight this back. And nothing at this point. And Light GG's as soon as he sees what's happening. Light trying to go for some cheese here, trying to end this quickly, but not working out for him whatsoever, unfortunately. Nice micromanagement there from Free, fighting this back. Had more gateways in time. Managed to pump enough Dragoons in time. And the Light, unfortunately, I feel he should have just started off by taking down that Nexus, then running up the line. But at the very least, do the definite thing. Do the definite thing. Only would have taken him a few more seconds because it was ripping right through that Nexus. But decided to try to do more damage and try to go for the quicker attack before Light had a chance to move to get more forces out there. But still feel should have been able to do that. But what are you going to do? Free going to move on to the final match. Who's going to face off against good old Pure. So we're going to see what happens there. GG guys, wrenching out. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Bringing you the final set of Group G next. Hey guys, this is Ranchin here. Bringing you on another StarCraft. Okay, let me restart that. Hey guys, this is Ranchin here, bringing you all another StarCraft commentary. This is going to be the final match in the round of 32 of Group G. It's going to be, of course, between Pure and Free. Pure and Free. Such very interesting comments put together. They're not going to give me sinkage time this time. They bastards. This is going to be an odd eye too. And finally going to bring you guys this set. I actually cast set 1 and 2 yesterday. Then I cast the winners to this one today. Probably not going to do any more today because I was busy. I have a life. I'm busy and it's late and blah. But the reason I did not release the first 2 sets because just the idea of having to edit and stuff just left me going. And, you know, when I'm going like that in regards to StarCraft commentary, that's just not good. So let's see, bottom right position, I'm going to have Pure as the red Protoss, upper left-hand position as the brown Protoss is Free, and I'm going to sink 37, 38, 39, and 40 for good measure. Let's see, in a PvP, I feel one of the most important factors is really experience. I feel it is experience. Not just your skill, but your experience. I mean, there are some players that have just had the pure skill to be able to do that. Like Best way back when was an absolutely stellar PvPer, just absolutely insane. Had an 80% win rate, which at the time for a mineral matchup was absolutely unprecedented. I mean, Sir Jaedong got up there as well with his Zerg versus Zerg, which was even crazier because of the unpredictability of Zerg versus Zerg. But Jaedong many times just somehow managed to completely make that a non-factor. So Best just played a very, very solid PvP. Unfortunately, his skill in that matchup has significantly lessened in the last year. And he himself, as a player, has unfortunately significantly lessened in skill, probably due to his lackluster performance in Star Leagues. Getting to the finals, but then losing to July Zerg, who, you know, nobody expected to happen. Nobody was like, July Zerg, he's old guy, gonna lose to this new boy. But then he got 3-0'd by Micro, so, you know, he wasn't allowed to play his good old macro game. But anyway, I'm talking about players not important here. So Pure, not enough games under his belt. I feel Free going to have an advantage because he's just played a lot more PvP. And overall, I think Free's micromanagement is better than Pure's. Pure has shown some very nice... has very nice mechanics overall. So he has the macro, he has the micro, has everything. But I think Free, alongside his experience and his veterancy... and also his capability when he's playing at the level he's playing right now to bring games in the clutch. I really think he's going to be in a good position here. Free might be like the best clutch player out there, not the guy not always the guy you bring out there for the close. You know, not the Mariano Rivera of the StarCraft world, but still a very solid player that can win in pressure situations. much like his teammate Zero. Well, not maybe quite as much so, but that's going to be debatable. So we'll get into 7-edge core builds for both these players. This is going to go for a good old standard. We're going to see whether it deviates from that, whether they actually decide to go for a second gateway or try to take up 2 Reavers as fast as possible. And of course, without the Dragoons out there, Probe Scout's just going to run it around, do as much damage as they do. And interestingly enough, I don't see in PvPs, maybe it's just me because I haven't watched enough PvPs lately, but I feel like I don't see as many Manor Pylons lately as I used to. I mean, you still got guys who do that, like Jangby. He loves his Manor Pyloning. He just, oh, look, I could get a Manor Pylon in there. Bloop, Manor Pylon. You know, just he loves his little Manor Pylons. Pure almost getting a probe caught there by Zealots. Desperately managed to maneuver out of the way. Both guys still seem to be on one gateway so far, so I think both guys are just going to try to go for robotics facilities now and just continue getting their economy up. Initial Dragoon out there. Pure Freeze is going to try to keep that scout alive in there as long as possible. On the opposite side, might actually expect. Oh, almost managed to escape with his own probe. Not going to happen. So both scouting probes die. And Pure's actually going to go out a little bit aggressiveness now, putting down his robotics facility as he moves out with his. Oh, nice! As he moves out with his Goon and 2 Zealots. On the opposite side, we see 2 more gateways being out. So going to be 3 gate from Freeze. Going to try to counter this with heavy Goon. Didn't spot the robotics, so he doesn't really know exactly what's going to happen, but probably just from the way that it was no second gateway there for a while, knows that it's going to be quick Reaver coming in from Pure, so he's going to try to counter this by getting a very heavy Dragoon count early on. Try to basically destroy that shuttle before it becomes a factor and just have a way too large a Dragoon force for it to become a factor. We're going to see whether he's going to be able to overwhelm this. Pure, of course, his micromanagement of that shuttle and Reaver is going to be absolutely critical, whether he manages to keep that shuttle alive, because the minute that shuttle gets sniped, whether Reaver's on the ground or in the air, Reaver's going to be extremely vulnerable. And especially if Pure tries to go on the offensive. If Pure fights defensively, and he might still manage this. He's actually going to go for, going to go Observatory first before the robotic support bay. Since he lost his probe, he's going to want to go inside and make sure what he hopes is happening, what he thinks is happening, which is probably not what is happening, and I actually confused myself a little bit there. But going to be 2 gates, and I think he's just going to produce initial. Might actually get 1 shuttle out there before the Observer comes out, or not. Don't think so. Anyway, just going to continue producing Dragoons so far and mill around. I think it was actually following a probe out there to the right, upper right-hand corner. But Free already has 6 goons out there alongside 2 Zealots. He might actually be thinking of going for aggressive action already. Try to go out there and push and do some damage. Pure going to have some of the Dragoons on his own. Meanwhile, also going to plant down a Nexus, so he's going to go for an for very anti-Protoss, anti-Terran-like strategy. Actually, kind of feels like an observatory into expansion. He's going to be forced to defend this without a Reaver. If he gets a Reaver before Shuttle, he might fight this back because he's going to have a Reaver on top of a ramp fighting that word. But meanwhile, there's an Observer out there for Pure, who's going to be able to spot some of the forces. Free, of course, did a good job of splitting some of his Dragoons. If he has those 4 Dragoons, a couple of Zealots, has 2 more Dragoons hiding in a little bit to the left side. They're probably going to be able to move in when he wants them to. He's actually, meanwhile, not moving in, not doing any sort of damage. We're going to see whether Pure still does have robotic support bay up. We're going to see whether it's going to be Shuttle or Reaver first. If the Reaver is going to have an easier time defending this, if it's a Shuttle, it's going to have a slightly harder time. Not going to have anything in the micro. But now, Free just by moving down here forces a cancel on Nexus. That's resources and time that Pure is not going to have back. At the very least, he's going to have the height advantage just running down the Zealots. Already getting 2 of them sniped, but the very least, he's going to have the height advantage. Free does have more units out there and has a Zealot as well that was able to absorb some of the shots, but he's going to be forced to boom back a little bit. Has have 1 single Dragoon reinforcement coming down. I think might be a couple more streaming down for him as well. Yeah, more Dragoons streaming down. But Pure right now going to have to get a Reaver down there. With 1 Reaver on top of the ramp, that's going to help him defend this significantly better. Free's still not going to go for the full aggressive action. Actually going to expand. So this, I think, is a smart idea from him. Saw that Pure was going to go for expansion. Knows that Pure has wasted some minerals. Meanwhile, going to split his Dragoons up a little bit so he doesn't take too much from that Reaver, from those Reaver Scarabs. Let's see. Reaver's going to go out there. Dragoons have to move back further. Pure has to be very careful with this because Dragoons, as that Reaver's going out that ramp, down that ramp, the only thing that Free had needed to do if he knew that, if he'd spotted that in time, would have been able to move in forward with all of his Dragoons, 1 shot, goodbye. He would have taken a Scarab, but he would have picked off that Reaver. So it's pretty much factor in your losses, which you want to do. But Free's going to be able to expand, he's going to be able to get his economy going. We saw him going for a robotics facility as well. Pure meanwhile has 2 Reavers and a shield battery and more gateways coming up, but still no shuttle support in those. And he wants to be very careful if he tries to go for a shuttle, because with those Dragoons out there, there's a good chance for him to get sniped. So he's going to have to be very careful. Might move in with a shuttle at the back there, past his main, basically completely bypass the ramp and go in from the north side. Meanwhile, rush down with his goons, or fire down with his goons as he does so. We try to take advantage of his shuttle. Meanwhile, Free does have his expansion going. Still only on 3 gateways, but his robotics facility does have robotic support now. So he's going to get a shuttle out there, get some of his own Reavers on the opposite side. We do see Pure with a shuttle now, going to load up some Reavers. We're going to see whether he's going to push this down. He is going to push down this. A little bit of a line. Fimo going to push back, going to try to take as many shots as he can. Firing on those goons. Reaver's going to come down from that shuttle there. So Free's going to be a little bit of trouble trying to push back, trying to kill. Doing a good job at the very least of sniping some goons, losing some of his own. Did not take a single scarab, so good for him in that way. At the very least, traded some goons and moved back before the danger became significant. Pure is going to put down his Nexus, but it's significantly delayed, especially when you think about the time that he spent trying to get that Nexus up and then canceling it at the last second. He probably was almost ready, more than halfway ready by the time he canceled it, so not a very good position overall. But Free still in producing free gateways, and still no Reavers out there. He really needs to get some Reavers out there. Actually going to mill with his Dragoons to the upper right hand, going to take a shot, going to probably just try to take a massive turn. And Pure actually just following him. He's actually, okay, never mind. I think, can you? Yeah, just going to take a massive turn there. From that upper left-hand position, just going to move back to his own base that way. Gateway now up, and I think Free, was that an observatory? Did Free actually might have gone for observer before he did anything else. There's going to be a shuttle moving along the Dragoons. So Free actually moving some Dragoons from the back as well. He's going to go for the surrounder now. He's not going to do that. Pure at the very least kind of boxing, putting himself against the sea, the water on the right side. So at the very least, there was no chance of really being boxed in unless it was from the south and north. So he would have been able to defend. Actually now running across bridges, and Free with a shuttle of his own, almost getting it sniped. Oh dear lord, one more shot on that would have gotten that snipe. Barely managed to save it. He does not want to be able to micro-wing with that. He just should pull that shuttle out. Does a good job of holding Pure off across that bridge, doing a lot of damage to some Dragoons. Pure just not getting his Nexus up, and a little bit late on the probe transfer because of micro going on. Does still have those couple of Reavers. Still don't think he's utilized them at all. I don't think a single Scarab has gone off and hit. Well, Free at the very least just forcing Pure a little bit, and still has that shuttle out there. It's heavily damaged. Going to try to move it. So light pincer attack some Dragoons from the north side. I don't think, no, didn't manage to get any sniping done. Wants to focus on the shuttle rather than those Reavers. Finally, some Scarabs coming off for Pure. Free still managed to keep a larger army count up because of that second expansion. So he has a lot of mineral intake. Pure's own expansion should be really hitting in right now as well. So he's going to start to produce some of his own. Reavers coming in very, very close in. And Free's just desperately hoping for an opportunity, like right now. Maybe Reaver's just going to run in, like, hello, we're in the open. Nothing to defend us. Shuttle going to come in, though, but the Scarab is doing quite a bit of damage. So Free doesn't really want to engage with those Dragoons coming in from the back. Pure also going to have even more reinforcements. Pure's doing a good job, really, of keeping Free back. Free has those Dragoons that are now going to get boxed in by those 4 Dragoons coming from the north. We're going to see are the Reavers. Reavers are not quite come into play. Free going to move back across this bridge, try to snipe all those Dragoons on the ground. I think, not quite managed to snipe all of them, but still getting hit by some Scarabs. Throw at least one Scarab got hit. He's meanwhile just adding in gateways, getting some of his own Reavers out. Still has a very fairly well damaged shuttle, so he wants to be very careful with that. Has recharged all of its shields, thankfully for him. Both Push is producing armies at this point, but Pure still with a Reaver advantage, getting a Citadel of Dune down at this point. So he's just going to continue taking up, maybe go for High Templar. High Templar, of course, also very, very useful in a PvP as the late game keeps going. Might also start getting some speed zealots out there, because zealots in a PvP I feel are not really very effective in a large number unless they have speed, in which case they can go in very close, with absorb some early shots while still do some damage with them, because when they don't have speed, the only real thing they're useful for is absorbing shots and maybe getting one hit off on Dragoons, because they get sniped extremely quickly. Pure gonna actually move out across the map yet again. Has a very large Dragoon number. Has it shuttle in there with Reavers. Gonna see how Pure manages to micro against this. Both players with the Reavers out there. Free moving in very, very aggressively across those bridges. I think. Oh man! Oh dear lord! Did he just snipe the shuttle just the second that Pure moved those Reavers in? I think those are backup Reavers, because I think he lost both of his Reavers that were just loading them up into a shuttle.
So at this point, not much else to defend. Some Dragoons coming in from the back, from the south to help defend against this. But Free over in a very good position, coming in with that shuttle very safely with those Reavers, going to be able to pick off all these Dragoons. Still taking one Scarab on his own Reaver, but picking off all the Reavers of Pure's. Pure had 4 Reavers out there, and now they're all dead. So Free doing a great job of taking the lead by winning battles, and this is where I feel his micromanagement and experience will come through. He's actually going to move inside the main now. There are some Dragoons at the front. Has to be very careful. Gets the shuttle sniped. So the Reavers are going to be vulnerable. One Reaver going to go down. Second Reaver going to go down as well. Thought he might stay alive, but they're going to go down as well. But Free now has an open field. Just open field on the natural expansion to do as much damage as he wants. Pure's going to move in. Just a few Dragoons. Piecemeal. But the only thing Free has to do at this point is just reinforce this force, try to do as much damage as he can in that chase. We're actually going to just focus on that Nexus. Probe's going to be pulled off the line now, but even more reinforcements coming in the form of Zealots, very heavily on the Zealots. They're also going to be just forcing down that Nexus, and if that Nexus goes down, they're probably going to be game right there. Pure, unfortunately, just doesn't have the forces to fight this back. Has another Reaver coming down. The Zealots, meanwhile, going to come in close, try to deal damage to it. And also, Dragoon sniping that Reaver. Reaver going to go down. Nexus has come down at this point. Some of the probes came back to try to mine a little bit. They're also going to down pure GGs. And Free moves on. Free moves on to the round of 16. Long time for him since he's gone forward into a tournament. Gives a quick bow and runs back. But Pure, unfortunately, despite getting to the round 16 in the OSL, not going to manage to do the same in the MSL this time around. Despite some nice play for him, he beat Light convincingly and played well against Calm, but unfortunately just against the more intelligent players, the more intelligent player in the form of Calm, the more experienced player in the form of Free, unfortunately lost here, but still might be kind of the same for him as was the case of Light, that he did not really get the group he wanted. If it would have been a heavy Terran group, I feel he would have been in a slightly better position, but still played very well overall. So kind of sad to see him go. But hey, at the same time, in this group, pretty much in my opinion, this was the kind of group that no matter who moved on, I would have been kind of happy and kind of sad at the same time. So Calm and Free, most likely the favorites. You can debate that with Light in there, kind of. But unfortunately, just because of the race of the groups, I think Free and Calm were the favorites coming into this, so they're going to move out. I got 2 more groups left, which are going to try to get out there by Thursday. But, school projects and tests and crap like that, unfortunately, very heavy this week. But last week of classes before exams start. But there's going to be some free time there at least, so I'm going to be able to keep up the casts and such without being swamped by work. So gonna see what happens. GG guys, Russian Sensing. Hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna bring you the next 2 groups. The group which might offer a lot of mirrors, but has Flash in it. So hey, everybody wants to see. And the Protoss versus Protoss only group. So we're gonna see overall what happens. Later, guys. Hope you're enjoying this MSL so far.